Okay. Let's see. I'm currently talking to myself because I didn't schedule this. Although, I didn't plan to stream at all. But I just couldn't hold it in anymore, to be honest. But I think I'll just play around for a few minutes until people start to come in, if they start to come in. And I think we'll just go from there. I think the description says it all, essentially, so... honestly, I think I'll probably just do my daily while I wait. There's a tank needed, but I don't want a tank right now. I want to relax. People won't think healing's relaxing, but in an expert, healing's relaxing. Assuming you get a tank with gear. And it's Alexandria, perfect.
To the memories of better days, I bid farewell.
Have you heard? Princess Sphene is here.
It's kind of fitting to do this as well, considering Sphene's
entities detected. Proceeding with removal.
Oh, did I even summon my fairy? No, I didn't. That helps. That is Labyrinthos, if I recall correctly. So yeah, I'm just going to warm up, get everything sorted out, let people trickle in since this is unscheduled. Once this expert's over, I'll start the overalls out. Happy or unhappy Sunday to anybody who just joined. Princess Sphene! Where are you, my dear? Can you give us a word about what you're going to be doing in 7.1? Okay, I guess now.
If I smile, it is because you all smile for me.
Aww. Yeah. Yeah, see, you of, my dear Sphene, you of this time period are what we want to be interested in right now. No thank you, no die. Fire that music, I think. So yeah, as I said, it's fitting that I'm in here because Sphene is the subject. So specifically, well, you know what, I'm not going to go into it until after this dungeon. After this dungeon, I'll start going into it, because if I start going into it here, I'm going down the rabbit hole. I'd rather do it when I'm fully focused on what I'm doing. You have a spawn? I'm hoping for more Final Fantasy IX themed dungeons, you know that? Something like Terra, for example. That would be cool. Although we did get something like Terra. When we scaled the mountain with through Dawn Trail. That was kind of like Terra, I guess.
Initiating security protocol. Initiating level 3 security protocol.
This is Asm Step. I really like the Asm Step. The Asm Step gets largely overlooked by a lot of people, especially because Stormblood is a lot of people's least favorite expansion. It's not my least favorite. But the Asm Step gets a bad thing. It gets overlooked. I don't like it. It was nice. There was a lot of story, a lot of lore. Good thing I'm not talking lore in here because I would not be focusing. Okay, just remove it. What happens when I talk? Don't add him. that too. Interesting. Shouldn't have been scratching my goddamn back then, should I? I do like the overall, like, the spin on the cool color. Can't remember exactly what the name was. I don't remember the cool color. Well, I like the spin on it. It's nice. I don't think I've ever gotten to 3 of these before. I guess I'm not doing the job right now. People always blame the healer. This is...
You are my people, and I will
Banya?
protect you. The painful memories of war I lay
Oh,
to rest.
I thought I was still playing Picto and I pressed my cooldown. Okay. Do you know what these remind me of? This is something I left out of my Alexandria video. If you look at them and look at their eyes, they look exactly, they kind of look like a spin on the entities that we saw during the attack on Alexandria by Kuja. Like, they're not exactly the same. The other ones are kind of like bug-like. These aren't really bug-like, they're more beasts. Oh god. This warrior is dying. But yeah, look at their eyes. The other ones had loads of eyes as well. Not really sure why I forgot to put that in. I only realized after. They're over there. Help us out, please.
There are people over there. Bring us closer.
So I'm assuming what's happening right now with the city in rubble like this is just after the storm surge. Or, well, the storm surge is the war. But after they used the Lindworm used the device, I'm assuming. This is why everything's in a bit of a wreck right now. That said, there is still a dome up there. I don't know if the dome came before or after the storm surge. I was under the assumption it came after. But it might just be a symptom of the game, or a symptom of the dungeon itself, the design. Warriors are so broken, they just heal themselves. It's boring to heal the warriors, you know? They just do it themselves. You do one of these fights, if the healer didn't even take part in just DPSs, the tanks are gonna die. Just not heal themselves. Which is fine, I guess, but it's just... It's that thing where people were like, you remember that strike they were doing months ago? Alright, here's my little thing again. Anytime I pass these guys, I always salute them. No matter what, I always salute them. And I died doing what he did. Doing what he did best. Serving his queen.
Security breach confirmed.
So yeah, I'm gonna get on the subject of this after this dungeon's over. I just want to get as many people to pick as possible before I start this dungeon. Especially because it's unscheduled. What did this boss do? Oh, I remember. The lines, yeah. Let's see. I've actually never taken a look around this arena. There's a lullaby version of Lakshmi? I didn't know that. Unless it's fan-made. It might be fan-made. I don't remember a lullaby version of Lakshmi. The dreamers. Where's this going? Oh, it's gone down. Oh, it's over here, yeah. Why was I gonna move? Lakshmi was a good fight. I enjoyed Lakshmi.
Fear not.
Those first couple of
You
weeks
will
of Stormblood
all live
where you're
on.
farming Lakshmi and...
And at the
What was
last,
the other one?
my final
I don't remember Lakshmi.
endless.
Lakshmi and... Lakshmi and... Oh god, I can't remember. Stormblood's first two primals, Lakshmi and... Because Lakshmi was midway. Lakshmi and... It wasn't Shinryu. Shinryu was the third. What was the second? Oh god, it's gonna annoy me now, isn't it? I'll check it out. I'll check it out. Otherwise, it's gonna annoy me for the rest of the night. This music is Garabani again, I think, at night. Is it? Oh no, this is
They've done it! They've prepared the Queen!
the other Garabani. I can't remember.
We can't give up! Not until keep complete!
We can't give up, not until Everkeep's complete. And they're building Everkeep around Castle Alexandria. I'm still convinced that Castle Alexandria right here, that's being built, that Everkeep's building, blah blah blah, that Everkeep has been built around at the moment, is going to show up. We're going to explore the bottom of Everkeep, and we're going to find the old Castle Alexandria. Oh god, this tank is dying. Yeah, this is why I shouldn't yap. Because I end up doing stupid things. Stormblood has some good games. You sold to me because I'm the master race of Lala? Yeah, that's the spirit. Look at us. Look at the Afro Lala here. He's really good. Afro midget. Nah, I wouldn't call myself a midget. What? Okay. I'm only noticing his name now. Oh, Afro midget. I like that. It seems to be a thing with Lalafelds. We always rock the unique headpiece. So, I'm not alone in that camp. Are we the creators and facilitators of Electrope? Demilala, rather. Demilala brought the wisdom to create Electrope in the mathematical principles that came with the Arts of the Arcanum. So they were developed on the South Sea Isles by the Milala. And once they were brought to Alexandria, those mathematical principles that were used in conjunction with the ore that they found to create the substance we call Electrope. Electropyromancer? I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, what's her face made a good impression. Like, I wouldn't mind an Electrope job. And they're clearly mining something in, they're mining something in the dome still. So mining is still going on. They're still digging up Electrope. So Electrope can be found now on Aetheris.
Attempting annihilation via high-powered energy discharge.
Indeed. Lightning go boom. Dodge out. I've already made a job like that in that head cannon, where you Electrope to generate temporary weapons. See, I like the sound of that. That sounds like a great job as well.
Energy accumulation complete.
So she's gonna fire.
Initiating final attack protocol.
Shields up. Oh, that's not shield. Don't breach the shield. Watch. Come on. Oh, didn't breach mine. But yeah, an electro job, I wouldn't say no to. But I said this 2 expansions ago, and I'm gonna say it now. We've got a lot of jobs. Can you think of another MMO that's not 30 years old that has as many jobs as we do? That is Ishgard during the day. Never forget that. We're never gonna be. Oh god, no! I think the tank will be fine either way. Oh god. Are we counting craft as a job? The game would count them as a job, but I'm gonna say no because they're not combat jobs. But there's a lot of people who solely only do crafting, so from that perspective, yeah. There's a lot of people who only do crafting. They only level up a combat job. I like his look. That's a nice look. But yeah, there's a lot of people who only play disciplines of the land and hand. They level a job just to get the content unlocked, and then they'll spend their days as a blacksmith. It tends to be a lot of role players will do the same. But yeah, so I can get to the purpose of this video now that I did this unscheduled stream and everything's up and running. So Gamescom was, I think, a day or 2 ago now. I think it just ended. I think it ended either yesterday or today, I don't know. But Yoshi P did a lot of show and tell. He did a lot of interviews with various media agencies, and he started hinting about a number of things regarding 7.1, and specifically, he's been talking about Sphene a lot. Now, I haven't done any of the research myself, primarily because I've been busy with my current video. It's a whole other headache. I've been working on it all day. So I just wanted a break and I decided to stream and go over this content because everybody's frankly going, right, what's the secret now? He's constantly hinting about something. So we know some things, and he's hinted and confirmed some things in his dialogue with these gaming agencies. So let me get myself somewhere safe before I start talking about all this. Go over to my usual hangout. Now, as I said, I haven't done any of the research, but I'm going to do the research on stream, similar to how I research one of my own videos, and just go over some ideas about what he's talking about and how it could relate to Sphene. Like, he's trying to just get the interest buzzed about us, and I don't blame him because, as I recall, the WoW expansion is coming out now, so it kind of makes sense for him to just get our hype going again, doesn't it? Like, it's a shrewd business move. Like, Yoshi P is not always about the business. Like, he just likes to keep us entertained. But from a business point of view, it's a shrewd move just to keep the focus on FF14. Can we talk about all 7.0 here? Yeah, sure, go ahead. Like, this is a safe space. Talk about anything and everything. But the primary focus that I'm going to be talking about is Sphene 7.1 and what Yoshi P has been talking about this weekend at Gamescom. So let me get myself to a nice park bench. I'd rather be focused on FF14. WoW gives me like PTSD. I don't blame you. Like, I wouldn't see myself back in WoW. Like, I remember the good old days of 40-man raiding, then the transition. Me and my wife would be there playing away, doing all the stuff that we needed to do. The moment when the camera dropped back to crosshairs and that, yeah, I had that on stream. I had that on my recording as well, but my heart was in tatters at that point when it went back, and I was just like, no. So let me grab a park bench, and we'll talk about the subject at hand. And that's until the start of Shadowlands. Then I realized, wow, it was an abusive relationship. Yeah, it just kind of like smacks you around, doesn't it? But apparently they're getting in hot water at the moment because, if I recall correctly, my wife is going to be playing WoW, by the way. So apparently the early she bought, I think she bought the middle package. So there's 3 packages. There's a standard package, a middle package, and then the big expensive package. I think she bought the middle one, but apparently the cheapest version, the middle version, don't have early access. So you had to buy the most expensive version in order to get early access, and apparently they're in hot water because of that. And it sounds just like a Blizzard move because that company is a greedy son of a bitch. So I don't doubt it at all. I think the rest of the players are going to get in on Tuesday or maybe tomorrow, I don't know. Enough about WoW though. This is not a WoW stream. We're talking about FF14 here. So let's get some context going first. So as I just said a few minutes ago, Yoshi P was talking a lot about FF14 at Gamescom, and he was talking about Sphene a lot. So there's a couple of tweets here that I mainly saw from people posting in my Discords. So here's the first one I saw, or actually, is it? No, this is the first one I saw. Yoshi P says in an interview with The Gamer that a clue for the next FF14 patch would be the word encounter. He also says there is meaning behind Sphene's crown. To think about who is the Sphene that appears to us in 7.0 and what discussions have taken place with her. It's fair. I mean, we had a few discussions with her where she was a bit weird, but I'll get to that in a few minutes. I've got all the dialogue here and ready. Then there was another tweet I saw, which is, did Yoshi P just casually confirm Sphene's shard was the 9th? Well then. So we'll get to the thing here. So when I asked Yoshida this, he reminds me that the Sphene we know from Dawn Trail is just a reproduction of the original Sphene from the Ninth Reflection who died during the Calamity of Lightning. Now, I'm not sure if this is his words or his words, but if it's Yoshi P's words, then he confirmed that the Ninth Reflection is Alexandria. He urges me to imagine various possibilities and look forward to what may come, while teasingly saying, because after all, there is meaning behind the crown. Think about who is the Sphene that appears to us in 7.0 and what discussions have taken place with her. So the same thing I saw there before. Let the fan theories and deep dives into all Sphene conversations commence. I'm assuming this is the author. Now, I haven't seen the other interviews, but I'm going to Google that again. So Yoshi P Gamescom 2014 FF14. So I've already got this article open, haven't read it yet, so I'm going to read it with everybody in a minute. Yoshi P hates Honeybee from Final Fantasy 14. Okay. Does he really hate Honeybee? Okay. I mean, I'm not her biggest simp, but if that's the word. But I suppose let's get on to this article and then we'll start theory crafting after I read the full article. So Yoshi P believes we will face the same dilemma of living memory in the real world in the next 100 years. I believe it, definitely. We're approaching the singularity. The possibilities of FF14's future are endless, such as multiverses, time travel, and Warriors of Life becoming... Wait. What the hell is this? The possibilities of FF14's future are endless, such as multiverses, time travel, and Warriors of Light becoming a shogun. I'll get back to that in a minute. The Great Serpent Rompa is not as popular in Japan as it is in the West. Wow, that's shocking. Okay. So, this week at Gamescom in Cologne, I was fortunate enough to sit down with FF14 producer and director Naoki Yoshida to chat about recently released Dawn Trail expansion. One of my favourite Dawn Trail areas was Living Memory, which I've written about before, theorising about the hidden meaning behind our Warriors of Light going around and powering down this stunning environment into nothing but an empty shell. Naturally, I couldn't resist the opportunity to ask the boss man himself. Okay, so we want the players not just to read the story as it were, but to experience the story as a game, Yoshida says. When we thought about the concept of searching for the City of Gold, we thought about how we could express that within the story, which we got the trials. We thought about having this place where the souls and memories are stored and they need to be there in order to last for eternity. This was the ideal place to live, as it were, but when we view it from reality, it seems quite scary in that sense. We felt that we needed to make it authentically, and we needed to do a proper job. Otherwise, the thoughts of those people who live in the night reflection wouldn't be properly conveyed. So he's saying night reflection here. So it is night reflection. Yoshida explains the team deliberately chose to incorporate characters related to the storyline in this area so that players had an emotional connection. Damn right. That place had me in tears the whole time. We see Erenville's mother, and then Kryl meets her parents for the first time. Then we provide that experience to the players, where they themselves had to shut down those memories. It was the sense of shutting down this place that looks so gorgeous and extravagant, and afterwards you just see the emptiness there. That was really the connotation that we wanted to incorporate into living memory, which is now dead memory. Even though living memory has a programmed appearance and the people living there are not really there, as they are digital memories of those who have died, Yoshida wanted to emphasize the important memories of people and the special moments in their lives and hearts to add greater meaning to shutting down this area. By having this place, which is so incredibly beautiful, and shutting it down, you achieve a sense of catharsis. Can't remember exactly what that means, as it were. You also feel a sense of sadness. We really put in a lot of hard work into achieving this kind of theatrical effect. Okay, I can't pronounce that word apparently. That we wanted in the environment. When this idea was proposed to the artists, they were like, huh? This is an area we put so much effort in and you're going to shut it down? I'd say the same. I would say the same. Yoshida goes on to say that living memory involved the same amount of work as creating 2 different zones, since it has 2 appearances. I said this in my last stream, that they had to make this area twice. So it was a lot of work for the team to create. The team did tell me they went through a really, really tough experience with that. I don't blame them, to be honest. If you put a lot of work into something and it's only on screen for 5 minutes, yeah, I'd feel the same. In Dawntrail, we have to go around shutting off the areas in living memory to delete the digital manifestations of the citizens, because its existence requires aether from living people to maintain. And they've already stated this as well, they need the aether from living beings rather than just aether itself. As the expansion comes to a close, Sphene is preparing to attack other worlds in order to reap this living aether from others to ensure her citizens, digital though they may be, survive. As the Warrior of Light, it's our job to stop her. I asked whether it would have been possible to find an aether alternative to keep living memory alive, as we had not had time restriction due to Sphene's impending attack. Yoshida tells me he believes this issue is something we will face in the real world, and that rather than question whether we could find another source of power, we should consider how humanity would react when faced with this dilemma. It's fair, I guess. When we talk about ourselves as humans, we have gone through a lot of technological advancements, and as we continue to make breakthroughs in the field of science. I do really believe that what we would call mecha is a possibility, and we will eventually get to that point where we can recreate memories and recreate the brain in a digital form. Singularity. That then makes us face the question, would we call that human? Another fair question. It's a sci-fi question as old as time, almost, or as old as the word sci-fi. If someone is living in this digital world, are they really living? I think this is an issue that humanity will face in the next 100 years, and I fully agree with that. We'd fight human nature, that is true. We continue to delve into the intricacies of the concepts of the endless and digital recreations of once living people. For example, fans have been busy theorizing about which Dawntrail characters are shards of the Sundered Ancients. Right here. Summarizing that Otis and Hildebrand are both shards of the same person. That's an interesting theory. That Hildebrand and Otis are one of the same. That's a good theory. I like that. Never occurred to me before. In the closing scene of Dawntrail, we see Sphene's crown against a black backdrop, which I have a picture of here, and it's all too easy to see the comparisons between this and the Ascian glyphs. Could she too be a shard of an ancient? I'd definitely say so. When I ask Yoshida this, he reminds me that the Sphene we know from Dawn Trail is just a reproduction of the original Sphene from the Night Reflection who died during the Calamity of Lightning. He urges me to imagine various possibilities and look forward to what might come, while teasingly saying, because after all, there is meaning behind the crown. And then he goes on to say what I just said a few minutes ago. Dawn Trail saw our Warriors of Light experiencing a lot of parallels from past expansions, experiencing similar circumstances but with a new twist, which made me wonder what the future holds for us. In both the 6.x series and 7.0, we visited another reflection, and there are still more reflections left unvisited. 4 to be exact. But Yoshida reminds me that there's even more options open to the team. Well, technically maybe 3, considering we've already been to Living Memory, so we've already visited another reflection again. There's also the possibility we could travel to the past. And there's also the possibility of the future. This is my theory as well. There is not just possibilities in the reflections, but even back in the source. In 4.0, the players went to Kugane. In reality, Kugane is merely part of Hingashi. I'll get to this in a minute. That's why I was weirded out when he said Shogun. And beyond the gate is the rest of Hingashi. I think that's coming next, you know that? Right now in the game, in Hingashi, there's a war taking place between the different shoguns and the shogun of Hingashi. Okay, we never heard about this before. This is new. We knew there was a shogun running the shogunate of Hingashi, but we didn't hear about a war. We knew they were in conflict, but the word war was never used. That's interesting. He's giving us a lot of information about Hingashi, isn't he? There's also the possibility the Warrior of Light will travel to Hingashi and participate in the war. It's not really our place, and are we going to become the ruler of Hingashi afterwards? They will take on the role of shogun and try to win command of the country. He's going a lot into this, isn't he? In addition to that, there is also the possibility of incorporating a multiverse. Fucking no, please. Please, for the love of Christ, no multiverses, please. I'm sick of multiverses. The idea of a possible multiverse makes me wonder whether fan favorites like Emmett Cell could make a comeback. I suppose from that regard, yeah, sure. But Yoshida reminds me of how we face similar dilemma as we do when discussing digital memories and the Endless. The Emmett Cell that we met in the other universe, would they be the same persons we talked to and fought with? The answer is no. I think there would be a huge amount of discussion about that, because after all, the Emmett Selk in the multiverse could have taken Elizabeth's place as being the core of Zodiac. That's a good point as well. Very good point. And it's interesting he said that, isn't it? I wonder if that was the idea they had originally. The idea could mean any character that has died in the past could return, even if they are vastly different from the version of them that we know and love. He's going a lot into this rabbit hole, isn't he? But Yoshida tells me he doesn't like the idea of cheapening sacrifices, and I fully agree. Papalimo returns, Jim. Yeah, damn truth. When we think about the theme of the fate of the characters, about the characters who really made tough decisions and sacrificed their lives to help the Warrior of Light, Papalimo, I don't like these kinds of plot developments where they could just make a comeback, and I fully agree. I think it's an easy plot choice, and would not want to go down that route if making such an easy decision with a kind of plot development. I'd rather they explore different timelines rather than different worlds, like that. He loves cheapening death and sacrifices since the Heaven World expansion. That's a low blow. Yoshida emphasizes that there really are unlimited possibilities for where FF14 can go next, and that his top priority is to provide enjoyment and surprises for players, so we don't need to worry about what he's up to next. We're always going to worry about what he's up to next. What are you on about? When it comes to the story of FF14 moving forward in December this year, so he's confirmed it's definitely in December. I mean, I was wondering if it's going to be in November or December. So it's December. We're getting 7.1. Okay, that's cool. I like that. As long as it's not on Christmas, please, for the love of God. Although December 26th, I will take a 7.1. I have to write out the requirements for the trailer for the new expansion. So more or less, I already have an image of what the adventure will entail. Yeah, because if you think about it, the trailer for a new expansion will take a long time to make, so... And I'm assuming they already have the idea of exactly what that expansion is, so... Well, I think it's a given, it's already under development. Dawn Trail is the start of a new arc after Endwalker brought it close to the Hydaelyn and Zodiac saga that spanned 10 years. Technically, 12, 13. However, Yoshida tells me that the storyline wasn't fully planned out ahead of time. It was only about at the time of the development of 5.0 that we were able to get a sense of that thought this could become a saga. I already have a vague idea of how the story is going to progress, but when it comes to the question of what specifically are going to be the process involved in making the story go forward, to a degree that depends on the player's reactions, and that also depends on what we want to do next. If the question is whether the story is already decided for the next 10 years, the answer would be no. He makes it sound like he's gauging our interaction and our reactions to patches and expansions that come out and then basing the rest of the story upon that, which is really cool. I like that. Oh god. Yeah, I really need to explore this, but we don't have enough information. I asked Yoshida for a clue for the next big patch in one word: encounter. He says before elaborating, there are various meanings to encounter, which is what I was thinking about when I was making dinner today. What encounter can mean a lot of different things. So it might be correct to say meeting point. Meeting point. Meeting point, okay. So it might be correct to say meeting point. It entails coming into contact with various things, characters, and content. It sounds like an invitation, so we're invited somewhere and we meet up at a meeting point. The team wanted to bring out a different style of character in the Raid series, but surprisingly a fan favourite in the community is not as loved as Yoshida himself. Characters like Honeybee Lovely, I would say I'm not so fond of them. I really don't like this so much. What's he saying by this? Making heart gestures. Okay, so he was doing this and he's like, I don't like this. Okay. That's fair. But I've seen that everyone seems to really like her, and that's good to hear. I suppose this is mainly... Yeah, a lot of people do like her, don't they? Being a minion enthusiast that I am, I couldn't resist asking the final question as to whether we'd get a minion of the greatest serpent of Toral. Please do. The final boss of the Dawn Trail Tender Valley dungeon. It looks suspiciously... What do you mean suspiciously like the greatest serpent of Ronka? It is pretty much the same. The serpent of Ronka, funnily enough, is not popular so much in Japan. Yoshida laughs. It's more popular outside Japan. Within the development team, there's a lot of our members who really love the serpent of Ronka, even when it's their own creation. With that in mind, I think they might try to subtly incorporate it again. It might make an appearance, and there's also the possibility that it will be a minion. It's not exactly subtle that they put it in. It's pretty much throwing our current concept of reflection connections out the window. I've left. All right, so the overall thing is over. So that's a lot to take in. So there is a lot of information in this article. So I usually don't look at size of the gamer, but well done for getting a proper interview with him. Can I point this out Hi. I was just like, who is this? Can I point this out real quick just before I go on to that? So somebody said Bakul Jaja, and I've been wondering about this for a while. So there's a character in Mamuk who goes unnoticed because you don't walk across their path. But you've probably seen them before, so I'll quickly show you here. Oh, that's an interesting mount to get. Okay, so where is it? Okay, so we all know Bakul Jaja, right? He became a fan favorite. Who the frick is this? Bakul Ja. Is that his little brother? Big brother? Did they just mix up names like this whenever they want? Anyone got any thoughts about who the heck this guy is? The lesser cooler Ja. So, wyverns are important companions to us Duppero in many matters other than warfare. They allow us to travel wherever we wish within this dense forest, and he has nothing else to say to us then. So, it's interesting. It makes me think that he could be a relation. Maybe he's going to... Maybe he'll actually have a part to play in the patches, because 7.1, 2, and 3 are going to flesh out the rest of Toral for us. So we're going to get more information about Bakul Ja, I'm sure. And I assume that this person's going to actually make an appearance as well. It could be his father's brother. So this could be Uncle Bakul. So it's interesting. It's something that's always nagged at the back of my mind, just going, who the hell is this guy? He's just tucked away outside. You don't really come across him unless you look for him. So I just thought that was interesting. Alright, let me park my ass back in Solution 9 while we go over the rest of this. I just want to reference this though real quick. So he went into a lot of freaking detail about this, didn't he? About the shogunate of Hingashi. Now, a couple of years ago I did make a video about where to next, and one of my likely guesses is Hingashi. So Kugani is here on this island. Access to the rest of the Hingashi is not allowed. They primarily to protect themselves from the Empire. They close off their borders to outsiders. But apparently now, according to Yoshi P, there is a war for the shogunate. We knew there was kind of like vying for the shogunate's throne, but now apparently the shogunate's throne is up for grabs. So I like that. I like the way they did that. But it makes me think, is this going to be next? Because I've been wondering what part of Aetheris we're going to visit next. And this might actually be it. Maybe we're heading back here. But it's time to get on to the subject at hand, which is Sphene. So, let's go back to the article real quick. So the questions posed are, so, well, actually maybe it's better to go to this. So, when I asked Yoshida this, he reminds me that the Sphene we know from Dawn Trail is just a reproduction of the original Sphene from the Night Reflection who died during the Calamity of Lightning. So, that's she died from the... Yeah, it is the Night... He confirmed it in his dialogue. It is the Night Reflection. So we got confirmation from Yoshi P. If that was his intention or not, we got confirmation that the Night Reflection is Sphene's reflection. Now, she died during the Calamity of Lightning. She died from that weird disease that... the lightning affliction that a lot of their people have, if I recall correctly. So that's how she died, but before she died, they were successfully able to preserve her memory. If you recall, Otis was the test subject for this process, and they preserved Sphene's memory because of that before she died. Now, her memory lives on, so she's a reproduction of the original Sphene from the Night Reflection who died during the Calamity of Lightning. We already knew that. He urges me to imagine various possibilities and look forward to what may come, while teasingly saying, because after all, there is a meaning behind the crown. Think about who is Sphene that appears to us in 7.0 and what discussions have taken place with her. Now let's talk about her in 7.0. So we see Sphene, we meet her outside of Solution 9. She gives us a tour of the overall place, shows us around, has a lot of dialogue with us. Then she gives us a big grand tour of Solution 9. The person we're interacting with, as we saw when we defeated Zoralja, for example. Once the gate above Everkeep was closed, Sphene disappeared as well. So Sphene, the Sphene we were talking to is the memories of Sphene that were within the Meso Terminal that's located in living memory. So she was taking control of the automated robots that were around here, and that's how she was communicating with all of the people here. And I assume that was always the status quo, even when Solution 9 was on its original reflection. That's how she communicated with all of her people. And it begs the question about her crown. Now, so we have the crown here. This is how the crown appeared at the end of 7.0. It resonates around, it looks like it's glowing, and we're like, okay, so they're hinting at something, we don't know exactly what it is. Now, let's think about this for a second. If I go to the dialogue here, so this is the entirety of the dialogue of the MSQ and beyond of Dawn Trail. So let me do the word crown. Crown, Dexars, oh, so there's going to be a lot. Okay, yeah, so here's the dialogue I was thinking about. So Striker is a farmer that we met outside the Solution 9. So Hunting, I mean, that's fine. Apologies for the interruption. I was hoping I might observe you at work. So that's Kakiwa. Hunting, you mean? Oh, that's fine, I guess. Hold on. I assumed they were wearing special regulators like Queen Sphene's crown, but they aren't wearing anything at all. And that made me think about something. Yeah, Streaka was a hunter, not a farmer. So, wearing special regulators like Queen Sphene's crown. So that's her saying that this is a regulator. However, the Queen Sphene that we know is her memories from Mesoterminal taking over an automated unit. Why would she need a regulator? And the regulator is, this regulator crown is not on the robot after it's struck down. So we see her facsimile disappear and the crown's not there, and then she takes over another and the crown is there. It's just part of her outfit. Perhaps it was just something she told her people just to say, oh, I'm wearing a regulator, but it's actually in the shape of a crown. But that got me thinking. Now, we all know about this little gizmo, the regulator. What we don't know is exactly how it came about. What if this crown is an ancient artifact of some sort that has a lot of the same features and abilities as a regulator? What if it was reversed? What if the regulators were created by reverse engineering the technology or magical ability of this crown? I can't remember exactly how this was created. I know they created it some time ago, but what if they researched the crown in order to make this? It's an interesting idea, isn't it? Because there's no reason for her to wear a regulator, unless she just, as I just said a few minutes ago, unless she just told her people, don't worry, I'm actually wearing a regulator, my crown is actually a regulator. Because at this point, they just thought she was a living, breathing girl walking around. They didn't know that she was just memories latched onto a robot. Isn't the original ode to the soul free? I wonder if those Hildebart shard theories will pan out. I think his soul has gone back to the ethereal sea at this point after he died. We don't know exactly how it works with Otis. It's a bit weird. Now, is there any word about the crown again? So she says something about the crown first. So, is there any more words? Working on that crown. Okay, so this is the only time the crown is actually mentioned, which is interesting. Now, the other thing that they want, so they want us to focus on the crown. So, I'm just of the opinion that this is some sort of ancient artifact that was used to create the regulators, but maybe it has some other features as well. As I said, it doesn't really make sense for a digital being to wear a regulator, or whatever this is. The Sphene we saw walking around in in living memory is a projection of her memories from Mesoterminal, just like the other Endless that are walking around. So what's the point of the crown? She wasn't wearing it. It didn't just drop to the ground after she died, as I recall. Maybe the crown actually does exist. Maybe there's a real crown. Perhaps. As I've already speculated, Everkeep was built around the old Castle Alexandria. Perhaps this crown was passed down in the Alexandros line, in the bloodline of the Alexandros family. Perhaps it was passed down from daughter to daughter, queen to queen, until it ended up with the original Queen Sphene. So this is the original Queen Sphene's crown, which we saw a facsimile of, but we didn't see the actual crown. But perhaps the crown actually does still exist, but is in Castle Alexandria, which is at the base of Everkeep, which we don't have access to at the moment. So it could add us to be going to Castle Alexandria, which is something I've been speculating about. I think it's going to be a dungeon that we're going to be exploring Castle Alexandria. But it begs the question, why are we going looking for this crown in the first place? What's the point of us going to look for this crown? That begs the question, doesn't it? Let's go back to the topic here. So, After all, there is a meaning behind the crown. Think about who is the Sphene that appears to us in 7.0 and what discussions have taken place with her. Also, what happened to preservation? You mean to tell me they pushed the idea of the Andes and Sohosokudek and didn't use it for themselves? I think preservation's still around. I think they're still knocking around somewhere, unless they all did die and they were just memories then. Because they were trying to preserve Sphene and the Endless. It's plausible they all became Endless themselves. Maybe to help spur the relics to travel to the night. Yeah, so it could possibly be... It could link us. It could allow us to travel to the night reflection again. Although technically we've already done that because we're going to live in memory. Yeah, I have a feeling we're going to find out what happens with preservation sometime in the future. Whether they're all dead or not is the question, really. But this line here, think about who is the Sphene that appears to us in 7.0 and what discussions have taken place with her. We had a lot of discussions with Sphene. So, let me try find... Does it tell you? Yeah, so here it is, right? So, they're having the discussion with Wukalamat and Sphene are having the discussion. I know it isn't easy to change one's beliefs and way of life. The Mulja had their reasons and relies on blessed siblings, as much as you have yours for souls. But if we defeat Zeralja, you'd be able to make all the decisions, right? We could then work together to fix things, restore your realm to where it belongs, and see where we can go from there. Listen to me. There's something I need to tell you. And then she sees the robot walking by. And then she's like, actually, never mind. It's nothing of import. So maybe that means something else. Like, at the time, when I saw this and you see the robot walking by, I was under the assumption that she was worried that Zeralja might find out. But what was he going to do? What was Zeralja going to do to her? There's not really much he could do to her, could he? Insanity Pepper says, were there two Sphenes? Well, they all interacted with us the same way, so I don't think so. I think they were all just projections from the Meso Terminal. I mean, there is two Sphenes if you think about it. There's the Sphene originally who died hundreds of years ago, and then there's the projection of our memories, which is the Sphene that we know. So we never knew the original one, the living, breathing one. We knew the Endless Sphene. What if she isn't the only version of Sphene out there? It's entirely possible as well. Like, who knows? Her memories could have been preserved in other places. They did devote a lot of time and resources to preserving Sphene's memory. So it's entirely possible that her memories, maybe the crown. Perhaps her memories are within the crown itself. So maybe the crown does exist and Sphene's memories are actually backed up in it. Like a flash drive. We know regulators are capable of something like that, so something kind of like that anyway. They need the connection with living memory though, I think. Do they? No, they don't. It preserves your memories within the regulator and then... I can't really understand it. Like Kryle's Lucky Clover, exactly, yeah. So it could be an Electrope device, but... I don't know, I don't think this is Electrope. I think it's something older. I think it's something far older. Do souls of reflections through source ethereal sea, or is it the same sea? Zenit, this is something I've thought about and I'm not fully certain. I think the answer is yes. I think the answer is yes. But we don't know exactly what the interactions are between reflection and source. We do know the ethereal sea permeates and it goes everywhere apparently. So I'd say yes, but I'm not fully certain. But a world can be cut off from that flow, like the void was, for example. I've got to tell you something could indicate that it wasn't Zeralja she was afraid of, but possibly the robot Sphene. But that was the robot Sphene we were talking to at the time, because we were standing in Solution 9 at the time when she did this dialogue. Listen to me, there's something I need to tell you. Like, originally I thought it was her just saying, I need to tell you what my plan is. I don't think that's what she was going to tell us. Listen, there's something I need to tell you. I'm planning to drain everybody's soul to supply the Endless. Or, I need to tell you that I'm Endless. Or, I think she knows something. I think there's something else. Yeah, but the robots are essentially her memories taking over the robots. Similar to what Kakiwa was doing with that weird looking robot of hers. She was controlling it from living memory, don't forget. So Sphene was doing something similar. She wants to offer you a spot as an Endless. I don't think that's it. I don't think she wants to do that. Well, she did want to do that at the end, but... Listen to me, there's something I need to tell you. Right, let's go back to her dialogue. So, Sphene, listen to me. I'm afraid she's gone, yeah. Synchronization will soon be complete, so the synchronization with the other reflection. Synchronization complete. Data for the Endless Sphene has been overwritten. Oh, yeah, the synchronization will be soon complete. Synchronization complete. The data of the Endless Sphene has been overwritten and reconfigured. All shall be well, henceforth and in perpetuity. So, I wonder what this means exactly. Data for the Endless Sphene has been overwritten and reconfigured. Does that mean that they used a backup of her memories? So the original memories of Queen Sphene and overrode the rest of the memories she developed over the hundreds of years after. Forever I will keep and cherish my people. To that end I remove the remaining checks upon my authority, whatever that means. Instructions to the plan will be summarily removed when she tried to remove us. And then Wukelmat does her thing. Let's see. I am the bearer of the memories of Queen Sphene of Alexandria, and my desire to protect my people transcend all others. Oh yeah, this is before the fight. Yeah, so. Or is it? If I were you, if it were you, could you have found another way? With your strength, could you have held fast to that which is so dear without sacrifice? So that's the question she asked, yeah. Listen to me. There's something that I need to tell you. Yeah, so this is the cutscene before the fight with Interpos, which is here. Okay. Listen to me, there's something I need to tell you. So even at the end, even within the Meso Terminal, right before she does her transformation and fights us, she says, listen to me, there's something I need to tell you. What the hell does she want to tell us? And then it's like, is that concern her? And then she fades out. It's like, if things should take a turn for the worse, might I ask you for help? I'm assuming that's what she wanted to ask. Can I find that line? I need to find that line. Let me go through my playthrough here. Give me a second. Actually, you know what? I don't need to go through my playthrough. I'll boot up the bloody thing here. Let's go look up a cutscene, shall we? Just so we can see this again. Yeah, that was a flashback. That's right, that was a flashback. Yeah, thank you for that. I completely forgot about that. What is the answer? It's, I feel like we're so close. It's just within grasp. We're missing one puzzle piece. I feel like I spent half of my week in here, you know? Just doing this. I'm assuming it's here, right? It's one of these, anyway. No, I think it's before that. So when we're having our dialogue with her. Yeah, okay, here we go. I, Robot. That's a great movie. I was only thinking about that movie the other day. Vicky. She's Vicky. That's who she is. She's Vicky. Meso Terminal is Vicky. There's her crown.
Sphene!
Yeesh. Be quiet.
Sphene, listen to me, please!
No, we want to hear her talk. She's... Yep.
I'm afraid she's gone.
Sphene.exe is not responding.
Synchronization will soon be complete.
Synchronization will soon be complete. And then she synchronizes with her memories from back in the day. So the Sphene that we knew disappears at this point. And she synchronizes with the memory of Queen Sphene, Alexandros that were stored in the Meso Terminal. From the moment that she was backed up, I'm assuming. Well, she was a fairly innocent person back when she was backed up, right? So... like, I was under the assumption that she purged her emotions.
Synchronization complete. Data for the endless Sphene has been overwritten and reconfigured.
Yeah, overridden and reconfigured.
All shall be well, henceforth and in perpetuity.
Yeah, so she did that in order to focus on her goals without her heart getting in the way.
Forever will I keep and cherish my people. To that end, I have removed the remaining checks upon my authority.
Which is her heart and her kindness, essentially. And then shields up.
Gods! Obstructions to the plan will be summarily removed.
Bye-bye.
Wait! I still have it separate!
Be gone from my presence.
Bye. Kyle, no. Bye, kitty. Yeah, yeet. That's not nice. I'm not happy.
According to Eliminator's battle data, you pose the single greatest threat.
So you decided to keep me around instead of throwing me out? I'm honored.
As such, you will be erased, here and now.
You can tell her old memories are still there because she yeeted everybody out instead of just erasing all of them. No sign of the crown in on her belly there. Kryl is deemed the greatest threat. Oh, so here's the fact.
I am the bearer of the memories of Queen Sphene of
I
Alexandria.
am the bearer.
And my desire to protect my people transcends all others.
Okay. Oh no, I don't want to do that.
If it were you, could you have found another way? With your strength, could you have held fast to that which is dear without sacrifice?
Yeah, and we answered. We gave her the answer, yeah.
Listen to me. There's something that I need to tell you.
Okay. Well, she doesn't tell us anything because she watches the robot walk by.
Is that concern or suspicion? If things should take a turn for the worse, might I?
Yeah, I think you're right, Insanity Pepper. Might I call upon you? I don't think I've ever said I'm shutting you down. I'm just gonna say I'm shutting you down. I think I always said the first one. I'm shutting you down.
Obstructions to the plan will be summarily removed.
The key. Spent too much time looking at this damn key. I'm still not sure about this. I'm still not sure. Like, I still like to think that it's Azem's creation. But also a part of me thinks that it absorbs its magic, you know? And then it shows us. It's weird, isn't it? It just... But why did she bring the key out in the first place? That's my question. Why is the key out here? Why did she do that? Is she trying to just finish the bridge? Is the bridge not active yet? I'm assuming that was the bridge. So... Yeah, but why? I thought Dimensional Fusion was already active. So... It was active pretty much throughout the fight. Right, so then the fight happens, so... Yeah, so let's go back to this line for a second, right? So... I am the bearer of the memories of Queen Sphene of Alexandria, and my desires to protect my people transcends all others. So she doesn't view herself as Queen Sphene. She views herself as the bearer of Sphene's memories, so from that point of view, there's two Sphenes. There's the one who died. And even though she has her memory, she doesn't think of herself as that Queen Sphene. And then, yeah, the dialogue lines that come up during the flashbacks and stuff like that. Listen to me, there's something I need to tell you. What does she need to tell us? Doesn't show its version of Alexander. Well, that version of Alexander, we're not really sure in Final Fantasy IX what the fate of Alexander was. We know it was an Eidolon. We're not really sure whether or not they can die, because we saw Bahamut get yeeted out of existence by Alexander, but you can still summon Alexander later. So, I'm assuming it's still around. It might come into play after, because don't forget, I keep saying that Castle Alexandria is going to be a place we're visiting, so for all we know, Alexander might actually play a part in that, because Alexander in FF9 is tied to Castle Alexandria. We got to see two versions of Bismarck, that's true. Two versions of Alexander wouldn't be... I'm hoping we get to explore the Ninth as well. I really do. There's parts of it I really want to explore. If we went down to the ruins of a Castle Alexandria and found the Axis of Alexandria, or it would flip. I would flip as well. And as I said like a few minutes ago, I think the crown, if the crown still exists, it's down there. It's entirely possible that the original Queen Sphene, after she died and her memories were preserved, she was buried within Castle Alexandria. Is it entirely plausible that she was resurrected? Preservation, perhaps? I think that's another thing I thought about. Preservation, if it's still around, is operating from within the old Castle Alexandria. Alexander got around, though. His whole thing was travel. The Alexander in 9 doesn't move, though. It appears at Castle Alexandria because the stones needed to summon it were there. And then it just appears. It never moves. It's too freaking large to move. And if it did move, Alexandria would have been destroyed. I still like to believe that Kuja caused the Storm Shards and will be a main antagonist of the Ninth Shard expansion. I'm not really sure what to think about that, because I think we've already got confirmation that Lindblom was the one that actually caused it. So let's see for Lindblom here. So yeah, so alright, so here's the history. So All nations soon became dependent upon it, Electrope, despite the difficulty of attaining it in quantity. Supply was chronically scarce, and when nations couldn't meet the needs of their own deposits, some resorted to take Electrope from others. Tale as old as time. Fighting was isolated to sporadic until Electrope came to be used in warfare, first in the weaponry of invaders, and then in the countermeasures of defenders, and then in every aspect of combat where an advantage might be had. This served only to exacerbate the ore shortage, leading to further escalation. Before long, the entire world was engulfed in a terrible war known as the Storm Surge. As the war came to a head, Alexandria's neighbour Lindrum committed its stores of Electrope to the production of a weapon of mass destruction. They deployed it on the front lines and triggered a calamity with frightful magnitude. Not even their own scientists had anticipated the force of the lightning that was unleashed. The energy inundated the entire continent, laying it to waste. Yeah, so that's Storm Surge 101, essentially. So Lindblom developed it, Lindblom used it, and Lindblom was usually the top tech guys back in the day. Of FF9 anyway, but it's primarily the Milala had the mathematical principles to make Electrope work in the first place. But once everybody knew the principles and Electrope was created, they essentially did the rest. And Electrope has infinite possibilities. You see it all over Solution 9, and you see the frickin' pony do it in M4. So she uses it as a cannon, she makes wings out of it, makes a cityscape, etc, etc. Okay. So let's go through the rest of the history real quick. So, but to continue the tale, the people of Alexandria had lost so much in the war. They lost almost everything else to the Levin. Those who survived wore deep scars, tormented by the memory of loved ones taken from them. Though they yet lived, the cruel spectre of death was with them always. Seeking a solution, our scientists turned once more to Electrope, and after extensive research, they developed a means to preserve memory and soul. Physical death isn't the end, so long as our memories endure, we may live on. This belief sustained them, and it sustains us now, granting us comfort. So that's essentially how the Endless came to be. And they developed a means to preserve memory and soul, which was the development of the regulators and development of the terminals in living memory. So you can preserve somebody while they're walking around doing their thing, but anybody who does die, you can preserve their memories with the regulators as well, and they're preserved in the terminals of living memory. They went wrong by consuming souls instead of preserving them. Yeah, well, they had to fuel it, and apparently only living aether suffices to keep the Endless alive, for whatever frickin' reason that is. So when Sphene connected to another reflection, it wasn't just to absorb the aether of that reflection, it was to absorb the living aether of that reflection. So she wanted souls from that reflection. But as far as we're aware, she didn't launch an attack on another reflection. She connected to another reflection while we were fighting her, but we don't know if an attack was launched similar to what happened with Tuliolal, for example. Troops march in, they start sucking everybody's souls out and transporting them back, sort of thing. But we weren't bearing witness to anything, so for all we know, there was an army at the ready in living memory, and as soon as it was connected to another reflection, the army was sent through. We didn't see any of that. We only entered the terminal, so we're standing outside of a terminal in the middle of living memory, and we entered it. For all we know, she sent an entire army to another reflection. We don't know exactly. We don't know the process behind. All we knew is that the terminal says everybody's ether is about to be replenished. Whatever the hell that means, or however the hell that works. But yeah, I theorized this in my last video as well, kind of, that her connecting to another reflection is the catalyst for the storyline of 7.1 from the Alliance Raid series, which is Vanadil. So the connection she connected to was the reflection that FF11 exists on. And since we've already got confirmation that the 9th reflection is Alexandria's reflection, it's entirely possible that she connected to the 11th, which is Final Fantasy 11. So as an aside, what do you think of my theory that Zoraija knew whenever the president of Arcadian is plotting to shut it down to stop him? I'm not certain on that. From what we understand of the storyline, he shut down the Arcadian because he wanted the feral souls to give his troops. So there wasn't a surplus lying around to use for leisure anymore. He didn't really care about leisure after all. There's many for the people's sake, not his. So he used Arcadian as a test base for doing all this sort of stuff, but once the war was starting, then he needed all the feral souls he could get, so he shut down the Arcadian for that reason. Once he was gone, they could start her up again. Yeah, Nova, I have a feeling that if Sphene did indeed connect to the 11th Vana'diel, I have a feeling it had some adverse effects on Vana'diel, and the people of Vana'diel, or the nations of Vana'diel, rather, are pissed off. And they're like, where did this connection come from? Why the hell did this happen? People are attacking us. And the Alliance Raid series is literally going to be Vana'diel just going, who the fuck are you to attack us? We're coming after whoever you are. Theoris doesn't really have to worry about this because the connection was between the 9th reflection and the 11th. So if the 11th reflection is going to attack anything, it's going to attack the 9th reflection, which is living memory. Theoris has nothing to do with it. We're the source. We're nothing to do with this. Will there be Lalafell there, I wonder? I think it's a given that there's Lalafell everywhere. So I think they mean Lala that came from Theoris to live on the 9th reflection. They just mingled with the Lalafells that were already there. If you're asking about if there's Lalafell on Vana'diel, the answer is yes. They're called Tarus. So, if you recognize this lovely lady, Taru, her name's a play on the race from Final Fantasy XI, who are called the Taru. But, back on topic. I think we've gone over pretty much everything we can in this regard, haven't we? There is a meaning behind the crown. There is a meaning behind the crown. Think about who is the Sphene that appears to us in 7.0 and what discussions have taken place with her. We've talked about a number of different things, and she'd want to talk to us about something and then she shuts up afterwards. She's like, no, never mind. Never mind, I guess. Is that a keyword? No. Yeah, so she's like, she'd usually wants, there's something I want to tell you. Never mind. And she did this multiple times. There's a lot of 11, yeah, so it's the only time she said that. But she did try to talk to us a number of times, and then it just goes, nah, maybe later. But that was really the only time that we really saw her do something like that. What did you want to say? What did you... I have a feeling it's this. I have a feeling it's this. What did she want to tell us? The conversations that we've had with her. She may have been trying to make her peace with Zoraija because she knew that she's out of the way, the others would move to consume the source. I wonder if the vibe I got from her trying to tell her something is true, if the preservation is actually still around and she was afraid of the control. That's a good idea, actually. She might have been trying to tell us about preservation. Preservation's goal is to preserve the Endless through whatever means necessary. Now, the Endless are gone now, because all the terminals are shut down. It's entirely possible that if Preservation's around, they're going to be pissed off. And they want revenge, I guess, or maybe they want to take over the civilization that's left behind. Now that Sphene and Zoraija are gone, they might think, okay, they're gone, and we don't like this little pup, Gululja. We're taking over Alexandria now. It's our turn. So that might be it. I mean, we know there's a lot of dark elements in Alexandrian culture. Are all the terminals shut down, or are there more that fell outside the bubble like Dead House? It's entirely possible that others do exist. I think, yeah, the Dead House, as you call it, was a terminal as well, after a fashion, because the Endless there did exist. So it's entirely possible there is others that actually did get displaced or erased. What was I saying? What was I going to do again? I was going to do something. Shit, I forgot what I was going to do. Fuck, what was I going to do? Okay, what happened to the others, and where are they all in Strayborough? I mentioned in my last video as well about Strayborough. The fact that we take a big journey from living memory to Strayborough, similar to how we travel between reflections, tells me that it might be completely displaced, or maybe it's on a different reflection. But that ties into my other theory that living memory at the moment is actually on a different reflection entirely rather than the ninth. So I think it got transported from the ninth to a different reflection because of interdimensional fusion when it was activated during our fight with Sphene. Given living memory was apparently flying above the world with its altitude at the top of the tower, or would Strayborough also be above its new reflection? We'll see when the MSQ continues. Yeah, so we're gonna have to wait really until. How long are we gonna wait again? Is it 6 months? So he said December. So December's a long way off. It's not even September yet. So we're gonna have to wait until December to find out about this. Yeah, Nova, I agree. I'd love to see the Burmesians, but it would require them to make a whole new race again, which I don't know if they're going to do or not. I would love to see a Burmesian running around, but we got 0 mentions of Burmesia. We got mentions of Clara. We gotten 0 mentions of Burmesia. But essentially, that's everything I wanted to go through. Just really just a quick stream, just to go over everything that Yoshi P said regarding this crown. I think he was referencing December for writing the 8.0 trailer. Oh, okay. Never mind. Okay. I didn't get that. I thought that was about the upcoming. Okay. Yeah, I'd say probably... Yeah, early November sounds right. Could the crown be part of another relic with electrope attachments? Well, look at the crown for a second. So, you've got these elements here and here, and then you have this part which glows, so it looks like it's entirely separate from the rest of the crown. And they did make allusions to it being kind of looking like an Ascian's mask, which Ascian masks are not Ascian masks, they're the masks of the Convocation. So it's entirely possible that this... Is that possible? Could this crown have belonged to a member of the Convocation? Let's think about that for a second. Could this have been a crown worn by one of the members of the Convocation? I mean, we know they had their own unique masks, so a crown doesn't really make sense, but maybe it wasn't a crown. Think about this for a second. Maybe these were added on after the fact, because these look like they're separate from this. So maybe these are after additions to make whatever this is into a crown. But when it was an ancient relic, these didn't exist on it. Could this perhaps be part of, or could it have been part of, a mask of a Convocation member? let me get the encyclopedia real quick. So, not to offend anybody or anything else like that, but something like this would be worn, well, if we put it in the idea of a crown like that, it would be worn by a female. Male crowns tend to take a more different appearance. Well, let's think about the convocation. Let's think about the convocation members for a minute, right? Let's think about them for a second. So let me find the entry on the convocation members, and we'll go over each and every one of them, just so we could try and pinpoint. Because I can kind of remember, yeah, so the convocation of 14. So let me read through it real quick. So we have Azem, of course, the Traveler. Right, let me put the mic closer again. So we have Azem, the Traveler, Pilgrim of the Star, and Counselor to the People, of course. Logrif, who we've already met. The Pastor, Cataloger, and Caretaker of Terrestrial Creations. Okay. Metron, we've already met him as well. He's the Mariner, Magister of Nautical Affairs, and Surveyor of Aquatic Creatures. See, one thing in common that they all have in common is they all have a kind of constellation symbol on their stones. Some people have been mentioning Pastra. Pastra is next up. So Pastra is the Arbiter, conservator of order and collective will. And then some people are saying Ultima, who is the composer, the advocate of aesthetics and myriad arts. Halmarut is the sower, cultivator of botanical and mitochondrial creations. Mycological creations, rather. Nabrialis is the contender, martial champion to refiner of technique. We never really saw much of Nabrialis' technique, did we? We saw a couple of moves off him, but that's about it. Well, we did fight him, though, didn't we? Yeah, we did fight him back in the day, didn't we? We didn't have much martial technique. Egiorim, the rhetorician, author of debate, and collator of knowledge. We've already seen her. She's dead. Well, at least that shard of her is dead, anyway. Dudalaphon, the innovator, appraiser of architecture and patron of invention. Somebody we haven't met at all. Emiraloth, the mender, curator of medicinal and therapeutic practices. He is the Ascian who lost his life in Eureka, but he was brought back from another shard from a different reflection to take place in the Ascian meeting soon after. Dudalaphon is associated with Thunder in 12. There are some parts of that glyph that look similar, but they're small. And then you have Lahabrea, Elidibus, and Azem, of course. Right, there is a mention about their masks. Let me mention this real quick. So, of a special design not seen amongst the general populace, these red masks proclaimed an individual holder of a seat of the Convocation of 14. Members otherwise donned by... Wait a second. Is this Azem's mask? Is that what this is? Is this Azem's mask? They all had their own unique masks. They were usually red. Is this his mask? Is that it? All the connections with Azem that we've been seeing, and then the crown is for some reason important again? Is that it? Was that the fucking thing staring us in the face the entire time? And that could tie into the other theory that people are having, that Sphene was the Azem shard from the Ninth Reflection. Is that it? Was it just as simple as that? Yeah, Nova, I agree as well. A lot of people agree that Golbez was our shard as well. Right, let me continue reading the thing about the masks. Give me a second. So that only made me think about it there, right? So let me continue. Alright, so of special design and not seen amongst the general populace, these red masks proclaimed an individual holder of a seat of the Convocation of 14. Members otherwise donned in unremarkable black robes favoured by the citizenry, all except for Helidibus, whose garb was pure white. This colour signified the emissary's impartiality as educator of the 14, and was permitted only to Helidibus and those who forsook the authority of public office for advisory roles, which is Sphene. Alright, so there's nothing else there, but I think that's it. I think that's it. So let's put it all together. He's been hinting about this crown. This crown is something important. And it's a crown right now because it has these side additions added to it. Because if it didn't have these side additions, it wouldn't work as a crown. So whatever this is, it was an old artifact. And we felt that it was utilized to create the regulators. So it was reverse engineered. Whatever this was reverse engineered. And the regulator was what the result was. But these side additions were added after the fact because they look completely different from this. It might just be a design perspective, but I think they were added afterwards to make the crown work. But this, considering all the connections we've seen to Azem up until this point, could be an element of Azem's masks. It could be the Traveler's Mask. I think that's it. I like that. I like that. Yeah, I like that. This, if it's not his mask, it belonged to Azem. And it's from the Ninth Reflection, but we see artifacts from all over. We see artifacts appear from the Ancients all over the other reflections. The first had numerous artifacts as well. But that's it. I think that's what it is. He's been trying to point at us the whole time, and it is Azem, because Azem has been a central focus in regards to the key. And it would fit the character as well. Like, Azem, we're a kind individual that cares about everybody else first. Sphene was exactly like that. She was a caring individual who only thought about the people first. So, yeah. That's it. Okay, it took us like almost 2 hours to get there, but we got there. I don't know why that only clicked with me now. Why didn't I think about Azem before? Could that be why the key resonated as well? She had the crown in her possession. We bring out the stone of Azem, and the key in the middle of the two of us resonates with a symbol. The swivel Sphene had near her belt looks like the piece of symbol of the mask of Logrif. That's an interesting one as well. Let's look at this mask closely again, right? So, oh, it's not a mask, it's still a crown right now. It did look like, because this is one thing as well. Don't forget, all members of the Convocation had their own symbol whenever they manifested their powers. The thing appears over. We always thought it was an Asian trait, but it's existed on Convocation members before they identified as Asians, before the Sundering. Emmett Selk did it whenever he was manifesting his powers. The mask would come up as his member of the Convocation, signifying him as a member of the Convocation. What if this design, which appears to be wholly unique, is a design of Azem the Traveler, with the heart in the middle? Kind of makes sense, doesn't it? Maybe it's a physical manifestation of that symbol. It could be a creation of Azem, similar to the key, a physical representation of the symbol of the seed of Azem. Yeah, I'm convinced. I'm convinced this is... It belonged to Azem. I'm convinced it belonged to him. If it's not his mask, it's a symbolic representation of his convocation mark, which also can take the form of a mask because it appears over their faces. And it would also tie Sphene to Azem as well, because we've been wondering who Azem's incarnation was on the Ninth Reflection. Some of us were assuming it's Kryl. I assumed it was Kryl as well. I didn't want it to be Kryl. But if Sphene was, it would make a lot of sense. And her character, as we just said a couple of minutes ago, does chime with our own. Because she was a very kind individual. Yeah, I'm just going to go with it. I'm going to go with the theory that this is Azem's mask. I'm going to say it's that. It's his mask. So, let's put this into context then. So, if you read this, when I ask Yoshida, he reminds me that the Sphene we know from Dawn Trail is just a reproduction of the original Sphene from the Night Reflection who died during the Calamity of Lightning. He urges me to imagine various possibilities and look forward to what may come, while teasingly saying, because after all there is a meaning behind the crown, and the meaning is the mask of Azem. Think about who is the Sphene that appears to us in 7.0 and what discussions have taken place with her. Let the fan theories and deep dives into all Sphene conversations commence, which they have for the past hour and a bit here. But yeah, I think we'll leave it there, cause I need to start winding down for the night now. Unfortunately, it's Sunday night. But yeah, I like where we've ended up. So, we didn't know what this was, but I'm sticking with this theory. I just arrived from my theory. Instead of the mask could be a representation of the Azem sigil. Darkness, I said that a couple of minutes ago as well, just before you joined. That this was an interpretation of the symbol of the seed of Azem the Traveler. So, a couple of months from now, have you read the new Tales of the Dawn story? Is there a new one? I know there's the one from Endwalker. But if there is, I know there's others coming, but I haven't read those. Yeah, I read the ones from Endwalker, yeah. Wait, hang on a second. Hang on. Yeah, within the palm-sized crystal. Yeah, I was just going to go to that line there in Sandy. So, the palm-sized crystal. Well, it's not exactly palm-sized. Although, let's think about this for a second. The ancients are much bigger than us. So, the ancients' hand... The ancients were much larger than we were. So this might have been a palm-sized crystal. It might have been made of crystal. It would fit into the palm of his hand. So we'd call it a palm-sized crystal. Okay. The key was constructed around the core crystal inners, right? Yeah, so the key is actually the crystal that's contained within the electro device. Could that be the palm-sized crystal? Yeah, that's another theory. Instead of it being Azem's crown, it could be the device he created. To ease the burdens of travel. Ease the burdens of travel. What does that mean? Ease the burdens of travel. I like how they have the tabs of Warrior Light male and female. Alright, so let's go to that line again. Thus spoke Hypnodeus, having ambled into his office at the Bureau of the Architect to find a crystal sitting rather conspicuously on a chair reserved for guests. Slipped from the singularly adventurous pocket, no doubt. He marvelled at the way the light played on its facets, like the surface of a tranquil lake, and recalled the first visitor he had that morning. Azem had sought the chief's assistance with the refinement of the 14th in his series of concepts to help ease the burdens of travel, which was contained within the palm-sized crystal. His 14th concept of a crystal. The crystal, it wasn't La Hebreus, it was found by Artemis, and it seems to have extraterrestrial origin. So he collected his friend's crystal and he went off on his merry way, making his ideal moment to deliver the forgotten crystal. I am indeed a creature of habit. As I left the concept crystal in my office. Metron turned to make it around stars, log the offer some parting messages before jogging to catch up. So Metron's what we do this evening. No other mention of this crystal, no? No? Okay. So it could be that as well. So we have two theories now. Theory number one, it's Azem's. It could be one of his creations. It could be a palm-sized crystal, because as we said, don't forget, ancients were much bigger than us. This could easily fit into the palm of the hand. They do describe it a little. He marveled at the way the light played on its facets, like the surface of a tranquil lake, and recalled the first visitor he received that morning. He marveled at the way the light played on its facets, like the surface of a tranquil lake. Let's think about that for a second. I would have assumed the crystals would have been like our crystals of light. Yeah, it might have been for another purpose different to how the preservation Nendlets use it. Exactly, because they use the key without any understanding of how it works or why. So they just know that the thing activates and does two things. They don't know exactly what the key does though. They could barely activate it. It's entirely possible that Azem's memories are locked within this device. Entirely possible as well. So let's think about that for a second. If this was some sort of memory storage device, that could also lead us to the theory that it was what was studied and reverse engineered to make the regulator, which is also a memory storage device. So yeah, I'm happy with this being an artifact of Azem. If it's not his mask, it's a crystal that he created. So yeah, I'm gonna go with that. I'm happy with that. I'm happy with that. Oh, I'm still stuck here. Okay. Nothing else going on? People selling stuff as well again. It would also make sense if the design was made in an artifact made in the style of Azem's mask. That's the other theory I have as well, that it was made in the style of his the symbol of Azem the Traveler. So yeah, I'm happy with those two theories. That it's either a representation of his mask, something he created, or it's the crystal that was described in the Tales of the Dawn that Hypnodeus had a hold of, or one of those creations anyway. The idea of it being a memory storage device is quite compelling to me as well. And as we know, the mask that we've seen up until this point wasn't the real mask, or the crown that we've seen up until this point wasn't the real crown. It was a facsimile of that crown that was worn by Sphene. This real crown may still exist, And it may possibly contain the memories of Azem the Traveler. This might be our catalyst for gaining access to information regarding Azem. I'm still going to say it. If this crown is going to exist anywhere, it's going to be in Castle Alexandria, which is at the base of Everkeep, because Everkeep was built around the original Castle Alexandria. So the original Castle Alexandria exists, but it's at the very base of this tower. What if Sphene had the memories of Azem? Entirely possible as well. But it's also possible that she may not have been able to fully unlock them. She may have been in a shard of Azem, but maybe the memories, she couldn't unlock them. Yes, that she talks as... Yes, that's a good point. She might have had some of the memories of Azem, which is why she talks to us the way that she does. But in the end, she doesn't consider herself... She doesn't consider herself that person. So it's quite possible that the original Queen Sphene had the mask, or the crown, and she had access to the memories of Azem the Traveler. But the Sphene that we met is only a facsimile that retains the memories of Queen Sphene. She doesn't consider herself to be the original Queen Sphene. So that's a good point. So the original Queen Sphene may have had Azem's memories, similar to how the other Ascians, the lower Ascians, were granted their memories thanks to the stones that were created for them. These stones that were created to house their memories, and that when they pluck one of these shards from a reflection, they give that shard, who has no memory of their life, the memories of that convocation member, and then they continue their work as an Ascian. It's entirely possible that this crown does the same thing, but it has the memories of Azem the Traveler, the real memories. So we know MSL created our stone, but it doesn't have any memories in it. But it's entirely possible that Azem was considering something like this and created one for himself. Azem was being pretty mysterious towards the end, and he wasn't interacting with the convocation, so it was entirely possible. Or this could be something else entirely, but I think our answer is right there, that this belongs to Azem. It wasn't a crown. It's his mask or a facsimile of his symbol. But I've said this like 10 times, so I'm going to leave it at that and say that this is an artifact that dates back to the ancients, belonged to Azem the Traveler, and might actually be a crystal that is able to store memories, and may actually have the memories of Azem the Traveler. If not all of them, at least some of them. I love that Mericidia is canonically FF14 Australia. It's home to kangaroos. I think Mericidia, as a lot of people have speculated already, Mericidia is going to be a cross between Australia and Africa. Because don't forget, we haven't received Africa either. And if you look at the map of FF14, there's no real place for Africa at the moment. So you have, for example, Japan over here, China, Russia, kind of, Europe, North America. We're missing something here. So Mericidia, big continent as it is, could be Africa / Australia. So it could be a mix of both. So you could have an African kind of climate here, up the northern side. The southern side could be more like Australia. So we could see that. You never know. I hope so. And don't forget MXL's line. What about Mericidia, the southern continent? Do you know aught about its current state of affairs? So there's definitely something going on there. It's got states of affairs. If it was just a barren wasteland, it wouldn't have states of affairs. So I think there's a people there. There's probably a nation there. But we don't know much about their current state of affairs. But that's it. I think we'll leave it there. So I think we've unraveled the mystery of this. I think I'll upload this video after, just to snip it all out. I didn't want to make a theory video just in case I was wrong, but I'm glad I didn't, because you guys all filled in the gaps for me as well, because I didn't have a clue where this was going until that point. So I'm happy with this, what this is. So I think we'll leave it at that. I would love an Arctic map, you know that? We don't get enough snow. We haven't got snow in a long time. We got some snow in Heaven's Ward. But I want more snow. I would love a snow map. I miss snow. I love snow. But yeah, we'll leave it there. Everybody go enjoy the rest of your Sunday nights. And try not to work too hard next week. My next video is coming. Well, the video I was working on by the time of my last stream, I'm still working on. The script wasn't going as well as I thought it was. It was fine. But I'm trying to make the next progression leap in my creation. But when I was looking at it and reading it, I came to the realization that this leap I was trying to make, I was working up to the jump and get ready to jump, but I didn't actually jump. So I was working up to it, but didn't take the step. So I'm rewriting the script for that, but I'm making another video separate from it right now, based on some of the things I researched while researching the other video. So I have another video that I'm ready to edit. It's a really quick one, but it's a subject I was interested in. So I'll upload that first, and then I'll finish my other video, which is my next creation leap after that. Appreciate it, guys, but thank you very much, guys and girls. I think we figured out exactly what this thing is, and I hope we all left with some good answers. And yeah, everybody take care. Have a good Sunday. Thank you very much.